Good morning to all my dear students. Due to this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak in whole globe, our government has declared the lockdown, and with this due effect, now the need is failed to come up with the online class to avoid the students' loss. So once again, I welcome you all. The day before yesterday, we had seen Chapter 6, Part 1 Optimization Techniques in Pharmaceuticals, and today we'll going to roll down are some basics related with the optimization techniques. This is the content or the agenda of today's presentation, which consists of concept of optimization, optimization parameters, classical optimization, statistical design, design of experiment, and at last optimization methods. In pharmacy, the word optimization is found in the literature referring to any study of formula. In development projects, pharmacists generally experiment by a series of logical steps, carefully controlling the variables and changing one at a time until the satisfactory results are obtained. This is how the optimization done in pharmaceutical industry. In real sense, actually, the optimization is simply defined as choosing the best element from some set of available alternative, that in another word you can say in simple way, that is to make perfect. It is the process of finding the best way of using the existing resources while taking into the account of all the factors that influences decision in any experiments. In development projects, one generally experiments by a series of logical steps, carefully controlling the variables and changing one at a time until a satisfactory system is obtained. Actually, it is not a screening technique. Optimization technique provide you the guideline or the outline related with the variables, which consist of both depth of understanding and ability to explore and defend range for the formulation and processing factors. These are the some parameters which by which one can make a formulation a very best one in a sense of response. Optimization parameters are generally fall down into the two category, that is problem type and second is variable type. Problem type uh, again has fall down into the two category, that is constrained and unconstrained, whereas variable has fall down into the two category, that is dependent and independent variables. In case of constraint, in case of problem type, the constraint and unconstraints will going to be defined in a very in a what we can say in a very different manner. That is unconstrained optimization problems. There are no restrictions actually. For a given pharmaceutical system, one might wish to make the hardest tablet possible. The making of the hardest tablet is the unconstrained optimization problem. So for your basic understanding, I'm going to focus on only the tablet because it will quite easier to you people to get the problem solved. As far as your constraint problem type is concerned, the constraint problem it involve in it is to make the hardest tablet possible, but it must disintegrate in less than 15 minutes. Another is variable type. Variable type has fall down into the independent and dependent variables. In case of independent variable, you can define your independent variable by taking the help of your formulation aspect as well as processing aspect. So that's why independent variable has fall down into the two category, that is formulating variable and the processing variable. And another is your dependent variable. Dependent variable are simply which is related with your response. In another way, you can define your independent and dependent variable. Independent variable is also called as primary variable. These variables are under the control of the formulator. These might include the compression force or the die cavity filling or the mixing time. That is nothing but your independent variable. In case of your dependent variable, this dependent variable is also called as your secondary variable. These variables are the response or the characteristics that are developed due to the independent variable. So these are nothing but the variables which can be obtained with the help of your independent variable. So that is nothing but you can say that dependent variables are the output of your independent variables. So the more variables that are present in the system, the more complications that are involved in the optimizations, you can say. In another term, when we talk regarding the response surface methodology or response surface plot, that is nothing but only the output or the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. So you can say in a real sense, you can say that response surface methodology or response surface plot is nothing but the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. That is nothing but the responses. Representing greater than 2 becomes graphically impossible here. Higher the variable, higher are the complications. Hence, it is to optimize each and every one or every factors. In case of response surface plot or response surface methodology, you will have to study, or you have to study rather, the 3D diagram. Okay, so as far as your 3D diagram is concerned, to make emphasize on your variables, so that variables, the word itself indicate the variables. So why the variable is there? So the word itself indicate that it is really keep on changing. So that's why the factors or the variables which is keep on changing, what we can call upon variables are. So that variables we had seen, that is independent variable and dependent variable. So here in case with the view of your 3D diagram, we can define our variables so far. So here in case of x1 and x2, these are the two sister what we can say, the arms of your x-axis. That is nothing but x1 factor as well as the x2 factor. On exactly on the y-axis, you can see the response you will get. So you response surface plot can be plot with the help of y-axis, and with respect to this x-axis and these these x1 and the x2 axis, you can plot your factors all together. So cumulatively you can say that, so x1 plus x2, so these factors will have to focus on how that cumulative x1 and x2 will affect the response. So anyhow, with respect to this response surface representing the relationship between the independent variable, that is x1 and x2, and the dependent variable, that is your y. As far as classical optimization is concerned, it involves the application of calculus to basic problem for the maximum and minimum function. So this maximum and minimum is really crucial one to define the optimization parameters. So as far as application is concerned, the first applications concerns with the classical optimization is problems that are not too complex. So that are not too complex, which can be easily what we can say, it is easily helpful for the better formulations to look forward. They do not involve the more than two variables at a time. So for more than two variables, graphical representation is impossible. It is practically impossible rather, and it is possibly you can possibly explain these factors with respect to the mathematically expression or mathematical equations too. As far as your graphical representation is concerned, here the classical optimization is done by using the calculus to a basic problems to find the maximum and minimum together, okay, as a function. The curve in the figure, this curve in the figure which represents the relationship between the response y and the single independent variable, that is x, and we can obtain the maximum here in case of in a sense of trot, and the minimum in a sense of valley. So that is nothing but the trot and valley which by which one can easily find it out the highest or the maximum responses with the due variable, that is nothing but independent variable at minimum level. So with the minimum possible efforts or the efforts, we can optimize our batch, so by which one can easily save the time as far as the pre-formulation study is concerned. So dear students, by using these graphical representations, with the help of calculus, the graphical representations can be avoided, that we can write the equation for y is a function of your x. So that's why your equations become y is equal to f of x. That is nothing but the calculus, the graph. Okay, so that calculus graph, I have said earlier that it is nothing but the output of your independent variables. When the relation for the response y is given as the function of two independent variables, that is x1 and x2. At initial level, we had seen the effect of your x1 upon the y, that is nothing but your response, that is effect of independent variable over the dependent variable. You can easily define your dependent variable so far. But when we talk regarding the factors which is more than 2 or 2 or more than 2, that is x1 and x2. So with the help of equation or with the help of graphics, we can easily find it out the cumulative effect of x1 and x2 altogether upon the dependent variable. So dependent variable is equal to the cumulative effect of x1 and x2 as a independent variable so far. The above function is represented by the contour plots on which the axis represents the independent variables x1 and x2. So you can say simply that with the help of contour plot, you can easily confine the role of your independent variable, that is x1 and x2. Statistical design. These techniques are divided into the two types actually. Experimentations continues as optimization proceeds. That is represented by the evolutionary operations, that is EVOP, and simplex methods. Experimentation is completed before optimization takes place. It is represented by the classical, mathematical, and search method. So these are the different types of allied optimization method by which one can easily formulate the base formulation. So as far as statistical design is concerned, it basically to get the statistical design, there are the basically two possible approaches are useful. One is theoretical approach and other is experimental approach. That experimental approach is also called as empirical approach. As far as theoretical approach is concerned, if the three theoretical equations is known to you and no experimentation is necessary, then that time you can apply your theoretical approach for the easily understanding of your statistical design. As far as your empirical or the experimental approach is concerned, with a single independent variable, formulator can design their own experiment with respect to the several levels. So as far as your experimental approach is concerned, it is quite crucial to design your own optimization technique to come up with a good idea and formulate your base batch with the good responses altogether. Statistical design, which consists of relationship with the single independent variables, which can be obtained by the simple regression analysis or by least square method. So simple regression analysis as well as the least square method are the crucial to define your independent variable. So you will have to just keep this thing in your mind, that independent variable which can be defined more efficiently with respect to the simple regression analysis as well as your least square method. The relationship with more than one important variable can be obtained by statistical design of experiment and multilinear regression analysis. And most widely used experimental plan is your factorial design, what you're looking forward. There are some sort of the terminology are really useful to to go in depth and to learn much more about the optimization, because optimization, to make fruitful the optimization, one should know these statistical techniques too. So to make these presentation more flourish, more understandable, I have added some sort of the terminology which might be helpful to you people to for the easy understanding. That is factor. It is an assigned variable such as concentration and temperature. These factors may be quantitative, may be qualitative. Quantitative, we know that by which one can easily get the some sort of the numbers or the numerical factors which can be assigned to it. Okay, so for example, concentration. So at what concentration you are adding your excipients into the formulation, that is 1%, 2%, 3%, etc. As far as qualitative factor is concerned, which are not numerical, we know that. So for example, the polymer's grade, the humidity condition, etc. Level of the factors are the values or the designation assigned to the factors. Okay, so as far as factor is concerned, so these factors are the independent factors. When we talk regarding the levels, say for example 2 by 3, here the 2 by 3, that is nothing but 2 raised to 3 factor design. It consists of 2 is nothing but your level and 3 is nothing but your factor. So if two levels are there, the low level and the high level, that is low which is expressed in terms of minus, and high is expressed in terms of +1. So low, that is nothing but lower concentration of temperature, and higher concentration of temperature, that is nothing but the two level we have decided here. In case of concentration, in terms of concentrations, we can talk the level, that is nothing but say 1% low, that is minus, 2% that is high, that is +1. So 1% and 2%, that is nothing but the two levels possibly apply with respect to the definitions or the explanation of your temperature and the concentrations together. Another terminology is your response. It is an outcome of the experiment. It is the effect to evaluate. That is nothing but your disintegration time. Effect, it is nothing but the change in the response caused by varying the levels. It gives the relationship between the various factors and the levels. Interaction is nothing but, or it gives you the idea regarding the overall effect of your two or more variables together. Example, combined effect of your lubricant and glidants on the hardness of the tablet so far. Optimization by means of the experimental design may be helpful in shortening the experimenting time. The design of experiments is a structured, organized method used to determine the relationship between the factors affecting a process and the output of the process. Statistical DOE, that is design of experiment, refers to the process of planning the experiment in such a way that appropriate data can be collected and analyzed statistically. There are the different types of the experimental designs are useful as far as your optimization is concerned. First is your completely randomized design, randomized block design, factorial design, then response surface design, then adding center points, 3-level full factorial design. As far as factorial design is concerned, you can apply full factorial design, you can apply fractional factorial design. As far as response surface design is concerned, we can apply the central composite design, that is CCD. You can apply the Box-Behnken design. Apart from these, there are the so many allied optimization methods are also useful. There are useful, these methods are useful to find the way and write on the problem concerned with the different formulation, that is Lagrangian method, then EVOP, that is evolutionary operations, simplex lattice method, search method, etc. etc. So when we talk regarding the types of experimental design, there are the two type of the designs are there: completely randomized design and randomized block design. In case of completely randomized design, these experiments compared the values of response variable based on different levels of that primary factor. For example, if there are 3 levels of the primary factors with each level to be run 2 times, then there are the 6 factorial possible run sequences you will get. In case of randomized block design, for these there is one factor or variable that is of primary interest. To control the non-significant factors, an important technique called blocking can be used to reduce or eliminate the contribution of these factors to experimental error. As far as the different types of benefits of these optimization techniques is concerned, you can you can save your time. This process with the help of these optimization techniques, the reproducibility can be possible, safety and reducing the error. It may also reduce the cost. As far as different types of benefits of this method is concerned, you can say that the basic clarity to design the various formulation, less batch failure. Third is more efficient and effective control of the change. Fourth is manufacturing changes within the approved design space without further regulatory review. And last is, that is fifth one, which provide the opportunity for the more flexibility, flexible regulatory approaches. Okay, so as far as the conclusion is concerned, the area of optimization is very vast, you can say, and its applications in all areas of the pharmaceutical sciences. Different techniques have been used according to the need. Optimization techniques are helpful in reducing the cost of product by minimizing the number of experimental trials during the formulation development. And nowadays it is very good area, or rather the first area of the research in every industry, because more optimum the product, more the company earns their profits. So dear students, this is a basic idea and understanding of the optimization techniques in the pharmaceuticals. Hope these presentations will be fruitful to learn about the same. This is my a very small effort that I have kept next to you all. So thank you so much for your attentions, I can say, at online. And one request to everyone is, stay home, stay safe, and take care of your family. Cooperate and support our government and healthcare professionals, and give your choral share to build in the nations. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.